Hello. It was the night before Necropolis, and I can't fucking sleep. So, I decided, well, rather, this is something I've been knocking around for a while, but I decided at the last minute that I was going to use some of my extra time here to sit down and go over a few things that can be done for the Kitava's Thirst experience while leveling, especially with very legitimately raised concerns from other people who are enjoying the wonderful Detonate Dead skill, that Detonate Dead of Chaining might be a pain in the booty to get. So, get right into the start of this. Oops. My equipment is a little weird right now, because someone pointed out a cock DD build, which was strong. I will not say anything against it. I was interested, though, seeing if I downgraded on Earth. That's obviously not the downgraded ones over here. If I downgraded on Earth and I ran through a Maze of the Minotaur map with that downgraded on Earth, how would it perform? And the answer was really good. It's pretty comparable, and I just wanted to see. And I also took off my body armor to test like a massive drop in survivability, because my armor becomes duty pretty quickly off that. I still have a lot. I'm kind of surprised how much armor I have even without the proper body armor in place. But yeah. That should absolutely do, right? That is all nerfs all the time. Let's see. I love coffee. Drinking coffee when I can't sleep.
One of my captors felt no emotion. He did not hesitate to inflict pain.
So yeah, starting off, this is kind of a little showcase with just a severely leveled down Unearth and a Maze of the Minotaur with as many survivability mods as I could roll without, you know, wasting a bunch of time. It works, as you can see. Clearing on a budget is something the build does. It just really is. And I wanted to showcase that as kind of a beforehand thing. I've got some of my own survivability nerfed. It's a less armor and less block map as well. So like, we're really piling on the pain. I could definitely die in here. I could see it. I don't think it's going to happen because, I mean, we're basically in standard now. And I still have like 10k armor. Oh, don't. Not level that up. Stupid build is strong. That guy's, oh, he's got endurance charges, okay. Oh man, I saw my mana bar move when I got hit. Terrifying. I wonder if Minotaur will actually smoke me. I feel like that's a distinct possibility. Ow. Ah. I don't know where he's at right now. Ah! Easy, dude.
That stretches
All the rewards in the world, even a good base. Look at that. So yeah, that's with my body armor off, a level 13 on Earth, which is boosted to, what is that? 15, 18? And it's quality 0, but it has enhanced, so it's quality 20. So I think in the showcase I saw for Cock DD, it was a level 19 gem, and I just kind of wanted to like match that a little bit to show, yes, with very little investment, this build will get you there, and that's kind of the big deal about it, right? So anyway, let's get to the real reason I'm making this video. I wanted to talk a little bit about the early leveling stage, because as a lot of people in the community have pointed out, Detonate Dead of Chaining might be a giant pain in the ass to get. It's not, like, in the grand scheme of things, it absolutely isn't, but it could be expensive the first day. You could get unlucky in lab if you try to, like, farm it immediately at level 32 or whatever. You don't need to do that though. You actually don't need it right away. As great as Detonate Dead of Chaining is, that early on, you can just do Volatile Dead. You are so rich in damage early on in the game that Volatile Dead just kind of gets you there on its own. At least until probably about the end of white maps, you might start to be like, wow, this really isn't the single target I need anymore. In that case, even if you still want to hold off for whatever reason, the second best support gem for Volatile Dead in this setup is actually just a Detonate Dead to go with it. That's how the build used to be played, so you'd be green, green, red, blue. All you need is that one green socket for Volatile Dead early on, and this will do leveling just fine, even through to Kitava, even through Merklab. All of that will be just fine with this. You don't need to have chaining right away in the league start scenario where things are just, you know, a little pinched in that way where maybe getting everything you want isn't going to happen. So, we still have to get to level 50 when Kitava's Thirst comes online. And I'll be honest, Kitava's Thirst is an item that can be used at level 44. So it might come on a little earlier now that Archmage is being changed, because currently it's still, you set your value to 5% here, but it's added onto the actual cost of Unearth now, which means that the mana cost is going to be a little higher earlier on. So needing quite so many skill points to pick up mana nodes, or these increased cost nodes might go down. Also, these increased cost nodes are going to give you more maximum mana. So it's possible you'll be able to start it a little bit earlier. But, and this is the other thing, you probably won't have Aetherwind gloves, which are the Nexus gloves equivalent you could have at that level, because you get these from maps. So if you're pushing, like with people, getting to maps day one, getting that gloves base could be hard. You want to really keep the mana cost down. And importantly, if you don't have a hollowed mana flask yet, it's going to feel pretty rough at times. I hate saying that because I'm talking like from a perspective of compared to having the gloves. You're gonna, I mean, this is basically a 6-link on steroids that early in the game. Even if you can only do damage in short bursts, you are going to wipe the floor with everything. Not a giant deal, it's just that massive quality of life doesn't come until you get this glove base. Or like an Eternal. With, I mean, better mods than this. This is kind of like a generic Eternal. Normally when I get an Eternal, what I do is I go for like the 50% increased recovery rate, something like that. And that early on is such a huge just shot to your mana pool, even with, you know, how much mana consumption we have, because we have so much mana regeneration already bouncing against it. It gets you out of it really quickly. I have this one set up like this because, quite frankly, the only time I use it is when I take damage, which you probably saw a little bit in that Maze of the Minotaur showcase just a moment ago. Now, on the other hand, we do have to talk about getting to Kitava's Thirst. We're kind of doing this in reverse. We started in Maze of the Minotaur. We talked about putting Kitava's Thirst. Now, what about before that? Luckily, I have this tabula on, so I can go ahead and just show this real quick. 2-button build is not what this is about, but until you get there, it's actually my recommendation. Yeah, I almost feel like I'm baiting and switching by doing that, but it is what it is, as they say. Yeah. You get Desecrate, you get Spell Cascade, it makes a bunch of corpses, and then you just push your button. Oh. That's the wrong one. You push your button. Which I actually have Spell Cascade hooked up to both right now, so that's a little bit misleading. Get over here. I don't know what that is. And you get to cast a few times. And they're heat-seeking, they find the enemies for you, they kill everything. And just quite frankly, it's one of the better skills mechanically, like for damage versus investment early on in the game. That is to say, this does a lot of damage when you don't have gear and you're just leveling. It does. It's very effective. So give it a try. Otherwise, Wave of Conviction is probably fine if you know how to make that work. Honestly, there's very little in the tree locking us into a given skill at that point. Once you get to the fire nodes, that does change because you want to have something that can ignite, and you hook it up to combustion, and you get a shitload of increased damage, and that's just really good. And you will have this before switching, so that's definitely worth going for. Is there anything else to cover? Oh, I guess If there's concerns about the build functioning because of the changes to the Archmage support gem, I do have some good news on that front. It has been confirmed via the revealed gems that GGG did a couple days ago. The wording on Archmage is consistent with how people think it's going to work. That is to say, it's different from the patch notes. It says unreserved maximum mana is the added cost, which means that it will be a static amount, not a fluctuating one, that would change with our mana value. And the reason why that would be disastrous is our mana cost would drop below 100 at a point, which would be bad because the build would stop working and the build would not exist. But that's not going to happen. Everything's fine. I hope you have a great time tomorrow, today, whenever you're seeing this, and I hope this video helps you have a slightly smoother league start because, yeah, honestly, it's been so hectic in my life lately. I looked back on that guide and I'm like, man, at least next league, assuming Detonate Dead doesn't get nuked from orbit, which I hope it doesn't. I like this build. Assuming next league it doesn't get nuked from orbit, I'm definitely going to touch that up a bit, because this is a very important part of the build we talked about today. Not just how it does without all the bells and whistles that boost the damage later in the game, but also how you get there in the league start scenario, which wasn't something I had to worry about when I made the current version of the build last league, because this was not my first build last league. But there it is. Have a great one. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Find a mirror for me. Have a good one, Exiles.